Hey, I want to welcome our viewers to Kennesaw Happenings at Overture. We have a special podcast. She's back by popular demand. And our viewers want to hear from experts, and we're going to try and give you experts that can touch on topics that will not only inform you, but we could challenge you to maybe make different decisions. So, Crystal, welcome back. Tell our viewers that if they haven't seen your past episode, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Well, it's a pleasure to be back. I want to start by saying Happy New Year,
Yes.
2024. I hope this year proves to be one of just as exciting or more for you and I, and for everybody in this new and upcoming opportunities to grow and to just develop. My name, as you said, is Crystal. People call me Coach Crystal, and I am a health and wellness coach and a fitness instructor. And I hail all the way from Ohio. I've been here for a year. I have to say that I don't miss the cold weather in Ohio, but I do still miss my family who's out there. And what I do here at the various places that I do fitness and health coaching is to develop programs for people that want to kind of change their life and improve their health and wellness by making small little decisions every day, develop habits and strengthen their bodies and kind of encourage them to try different things that they might have never tried before, but it's going to always improve their ability to just access life. I think if we don't have our health, then we don't have anything else, really.
I agree with you. And I wanted to go back just a second because how you got introduced to us was through Sarita, who heard you speak at the community center. And the one thing she came back, she says, you got to get Crystal on your podcast. And she talked about the story you told about your mom. Could you tell our viewers just a little bit about, I mean, it was so memorable that that was the first thing she told me. So it was like, however you told that story, it was simple enough that people repeated it. Could you share with our viewers just that little bit of journey and how you engage with your mom?
Sure. That's actually why I'm here today. It's my mom. I'm always done exercise all of my life, and everybody in my family also really appreciates and is pretty committed to the exercise, except for my mom. And she always would make all these excuses for why she wasn't going to work out or she was going to get to it. And I tell you, we bought her every piece of equipment known to man to kind of get her motivated. She's like, as soon as I get that bike, as soon as you get me that treadmill, if I sign up for this gym membership, we got her trainers, you name it. And she'd always find reasons to kind of put it off. And I remember one day saying, Mom, let's go to the gym together. Maybe that would, at least I could see what you're doing. And when I got there, I noticed that she was really uncomfortable in that space. She didn't know what she was doing. And even though she'd been a member there for several years, she just felt really out of place. And I realized that my mom, just like many other people, really look at going to the gym or working out or kind of stressing their bodies with regards to fitness. They look at it a very challenging and daunting thing for them.
Yep.
And so what I decided to do is I made a pact with my mom and I said, Mom, if you decide to kind of commit to this journey, I will walk alongside you with it. And we will take baby steps, but we will show up every day and give our very best. And at the end of 3 months, if you are still not wanting to do this, we'll just chalk it. And when I tell you that she showed up every day and really started to take on a new mindset about herself, about her abilities, about exercise, to the point where I no longer had to even go with her. it wasn't even great that she started to go, but she
Mhm.
started to impact other people in her sphere of influence, where other people who, would tend to kind of veer away from doing exercise, she encouraged them. And so my mom in her 80s is now actually a gym rat. I don't even
Wow,
recognize
that's
her,
crazy.
literally. And she has a whole group of people that she
Yeah.
actually has kind of developed
Mhm.
this whole sense of passion for exercise. And she loves to kind of meet people who, like herself, were very unsure about the whole process
Mhm.
and walk them through it too. Because I always believe each one should reach one. You never get to a space in your
Right.
life where you can't go back and remember what it was like. And sometimes those are the people that you want to help lead you, because they too were very uncomfortable and very unsure about things, but somebody
Mhm.
helped them as well kind of evolve into this new person. And it's never too late.
Yeah, no, I think I love that reach one because the shoes that you're in once you make that transition, you have that unique story that
Yeah.
nobody else has.
Yeah.
What would you tell our viewers, like you started going, how many times, when did your mom catch the bug, so to speak? And I believe in community. So now she started to invite her friends. So give our viewers a little bit of insight into that.
Well, like just like anything else, it wasn't an overnight success,
Right.
right? And I think with my mom, what you have to do with anybody is to give them a little bit of a challenge and let them be able to conquer that challenge and be consistent with it. So for us, the first month was just going to one little space, no weight, and just learning to kind of stretch their body and to feel what muscles um, um, how muscles respond to movement. And then once she got comfortable within her skin, then we veered out and started to work on small weights and starting to just do some basic weight training.
Mhm.
And then we added some cardio to it. And so I think just like with anything else, with building habits, you start small and you build. And as you get results, and when you see that the sacrifice of putting yourself in an uncomfortable space shows great dividends back, then you're
Mhm.
willing to try another challenge that you've never thought that you could do before. And for me, the greatest joy is to see people uncover and discover parts of themselves they never knew really existed,
Mhm.
always been there, but just never had an opportunity to really be exposed because maybe they just didn't know, or
Mhm.
maybe fear, or maybe failure in the past in that area, where now they're like, I just don't think I can ever try again. And I just tell people, take the first step.
Mhm.
Just take the first step, and you will never, ever regret, especially in the area of exercise and movement, going and taking that risk to try.
Yeah, well, you warm in my heart when I hear this. But not but addition. We talked last week about mindset, and
Mm-hmm.
and I know you're reading a book, and you had challenged the class here at Overture. I love it because they came away telling me that you had nicknames for them
Yeah.
based on what you kind of saw in them, and it was like it's so cool to take on a name and as you're embarking on a journey. But tell our viewers a little bit about the mindset part of what you do.
Yeah, I read a great book. It's still a book that I recommend for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The author is Carolyn Dweck,
Mm-hmm.
and she is a psychologist. And basically, um, she has broken down people into two categories:
Mm-hmm.
people who have a fixed mindset and people have a growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
A person with a fixed mindset kind of sticks to something that they believe, and it's really hard for them to change their mind about it. Where a growth mindset is someone who's always wanting to learn and to grow and experience life. Now, a fixed mindset person is not necessarily a bad person. It's just that at the end of the day, their number one goal is to stay safe, to stay within the parameters of what they know, to stay comfortable. And believe it or not, a person with a fixed mindset is someone who really wants to win at all cost. So if something seems too challenging for them that they might not be able to achieve in their mind, they'd rather not try.
Right.
A growth mindset person is someone who is willing to possibly even fail if it means at the end of the day they learned something, they grew in some way, and they experienced life in a way that otherwise they would not have. So oftentimes in our lives, we're very complicated people. We're not just a fixed or a growth mindset person. We're a little bit of both. There's some areas of our lives where we really want to grow, and we're willing to take risks, and we're willing to learn, and we're willing to fail until we get it right. And then there's other areas in our life where we're fixed, where we're not certain, and we're afraid, and we've maybe failed in that area before, or maybe somebody put a label on us and said, oh, well, you're never going to be like if we're talking about fitness, you're never going to be an athlete, or, you never worked out before, or remember last time you tried a diet and it never didn't work out. You just are going to always struggle with your weight. And so whenever you hear those words always and never, it puts ceilings on you.
Yep.
And so what I love about what I do is helping people to maybe reassess, is that truth about me still valid? Is there a potential for something different for me to think about? And when you mentioned about the names that I give the ladies, I really think that a lot of times we have to start with a belief system that even though we might be aware that we need to exercise or need to eat better, or we need to drink more water, we have to believe that we can actually do it, and that the benefits are something that we want to achieve. So by just putting a label on yourself, by speaking it out, it's amazing how your mind and then your body will line up to the things that come out of your mouth.
Right. Yeah. I was listening this morning to a friend of mine. Well, it's part of a program. I believe in what you're just saying. And our self-talk is so important because a lot of times it is on the negative side, just what you described. And he went through a brain injury on an RAV, and he had to reprogram his brain. So he had 3 questions he asked himself each day to challenge that self-talk. And then he would talk through those answers to those questions. And so you think, that's kind of cheesy. No, it isn't, because this brain up here is a muscle.
Absolutely.
And how we use it is how we grow.
Absolutely.
So share with our viewers, because we mentioned before we went on the air about what your 21-day kind of quote unquote fast. Tell our viewers, not the typical fast. Tell our viewers what you mean by that.
Yeah. So I decided to do a 21-day fast at the beginning of the year. And the reason why I feel like it's important to me, and maybe somebody would like to adopt this for themselves, is because oftentimes we are so busy with life that we do things perfunctively without even thinking about it. What we eat, how we sleep, what we spend our time with, what we listen to, what comes out of our mouth. And so for 21 days, I decided that I'm going to spend that time being quiet with God, quiet with my thoughts. So I eliminated all TV, all social media, no movies, right? And then I also decided to kind of clean up my diet. So that means no junk food, no snacks, no fried food, really clean eating. And what this journey has taught me is that we don't realize how much food and entertainment fill voids in our life. And often it quiets the things that we need to be listening to. Our thoughts. A lot of times we eat to drown out our pain. We watch TV to avoid the reality. And so when we can be able to be quiet and sit with ourselves, it's amazing what we can learn about ourselves. And then hopefully at the end of the 21 days, if you choose to do something like that, I'm not saying you never go back to eating chocolate, but now you kind of put it in its rightful place. So we reset our brain, we reset our body during this 21-day journey. And for me, it's given me even a greater passion to help people because I'm a health coach and a fitness instructor, and I struggle with eating right. I struggle with going to the gym sometimes. So imagine somebody who's never had that a part of their life, trying to introduce that. So what that teaches me in this 21-day is to give people grace, that this is not a linear progression, that there's days where you get it right and there's days where you don't. But when you continue to pick yourself up and say, you know what, tomorrow's another day, that mindset to think that just because I messed up today doesn't mean that I can't start over tomorrow. And that the mindset that says that, you know what, once I set my parameters, I always tell people this, the words that should come out of your mouth is, I can, I will, and I must, because you are your biggest cheerleader.
Yes.
And when you made reference to that voice in your head, the reality is that negative voice in our head, it's never going to go away. It will always be a part of who we are. But when we choose to speak life, when we choose to speak purpose, when we choose to speak value on our lives, that voice gets louder and the negative voice gets quieter. And we will tune into the positive voice that is speaking over us, and we more likely will avoid, or at least we will at least say, you know what, I'm not going to believe that smaller, quieter voice that we no longer give power to.
I love it. And then I wanted to let our viewers know, because on the show, we don't have our guests promote themselves. However, the host can promote the guest. So I'm going to give a challenge out to our Overture community. We have free options here, which is done at, I think, at 11 o'clock, Monday through Friday. But then there's also, and you see it in the marketplace, you give people free and then they want more. Your class is a paid option, and you had the option of coming before your class to share with our viewers. And I want to just say to our viewers, you get not only the exercise part, but you get this, the mindset, the coaching of really how important our health is. Because when we hit a certain age, just like your mom, if we don't make that transition into a different lifestyle, we'll continue with health that we might not want.
Absolutely.
And it's so apparent when we get a little older. It's like if we're 25, we think we're going to live forever. But when we get a little older, you know, we're knocking on the door of the fourth quarter, you know, overtime. So I want to encourage our Overture and even seniors in general to look at your health as an investment.
Oh, that's good.
You know, because you can say, I'm investing in you, your mind, your knowledge, your expertise, your ability to get me moving on a path that may be a little different than like the typical path that we just, you're right, when you said we just subconsciously make decisions that might not promote a better lifestyle.
Absolutely. I love what you say, because at the end of the day, this temple is your best investment. No matter what else you plan to do in your life, if you don't have your health, nothing else will line up. And so when we have an idea that we put ourselves first with regards to our health, then it's very important to put ourselves in proximity of other people
Right.
who have that same mindset.
Yes.
So not only will you get the fitness, not only will you get the mindset change, but you're going to be around other people
Yes.
who are trying to do the same thing. And we're all on our own journey. Nobody that comes to my class, or if you decide to go to any fitness class, should be looking at anybody else. We don't compare. We don't compete. We just try to do the very best for ourselves with what skill set we have. And in my class, there are people who can do the exercise with weights. There's some people who can't do it with weights. There's some people can do it standing up. There's some people who can do it, have to sit down, but everybody's doing it at their best level. And so really encouraging people, when you want to make a change in your life, look at the people that are in your sphere of influence. Are they too trying to make improvements in their own life? Maybe you'll be the one that's the fire starter. Right. Hey, you know what? Let's get up and walk. And what I'm asking people to do is just challenge yourself.
Yes.
Every day you get up, challenge yourself to do something a little bit different. If you go to the front of the building a certain way and it's a shortcut, challenge yourself to go the long way around. Challenge yourself to think differently and to try something you've never tried before. And if it's awkward, if it takes a little bit of work, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay, because at the end of the day, you had an experience. And that experience will continue to grow and to foster into something that can potentially open up doors you never even knew existed for you.
Yeah, it was fun. I love that you said challenge yourself. There's a gentleman I go to his PT clinic, and he's right across the hall. And he saw me walking, and we were talking about my situation. He goes, "Do you take the elevator or the stairs?" I said, "I do the elevator." He goes, "Try the stairs." And I was going, "Yeah, man, that's right. I never thought about it. I just had assumed that the convenience of society, that I have an elevator, I'll take it. That was 2 months ago. I don't take the elevator anymore. I go up and down 4 flights of steps every day, because it's just a little, he challenged me. And I had never thought of it until he said that. And I'm just going like, why didn't I think of it? But I think we are so conditioned by the convenience. And you said like TV. The average person in America watches 4 hours of TV a day.
Wow.
Think of that. 4 hours. And can you put 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half hour into your health and maybe cut down on your TV? You can.
You can.
It's a decision.
Sure.
But we're conditioned to do, like you said, it's usually that numbing of something that we just do something like, oh, I had a hard day. Now I got to just chill out in front of the TV.
Yes.
Not necessarily, but you have accepted that talk as that's my way of kind of winding down.
That's right.
But you can wind down at an exercise class, don't you think?
Absolutely. And in fact, it really does, because when you exercise, it lets off endorphins, which really calms your body down, right? It centers you. But you said something that was so key, is that we do things perfunctively. It's just we've always done it this way. And unfortunately, as we get older, we can't do things the way that we always did and think we're going to get the same results. Our bodies are more complex than a car, but just imagine your body being like a car. If you let it just sit, right? What happens when you don't run your car? The battery dies, the oil gets thick, the tires deflate. So if you can kind of put yourself in that scenario, when I don't challenge my body, my heart's impacted, my lungs are impacted, my muscles atrophy, my brain actually slows down. And when we want to live a quality life, this is something that we can't ignore anymore. And I think if you're in a stage in your life where you don't have to work, you're retired, you don't have to raise children anymore, you don't have to worry about a lot of the stressors that you used to, why not this be the best time of your life that you focus on yourself? you have the time to do it. And you can discover so much more than you could in the past because of all the pressures that life brought you. Now you can actually take time and grow in ways that people who still have to work or still have to raise children, they can still do it too, but they have to really be intentional about finding that time.
Right.
Now you can actually be selfish about taking care of your body.
I want to encourage our viewers really to share Crystal's episode with other senior centers, because I think how you challenge people and the way you approach it is completely different than I've ever seen. So if it wasn't for Sarita, we wouldn't be here today. So Sarita, like a crazy, I saw her last night and I said, Crystal's coming tomorrow morning. She goes, oh yeah, she's coming for the exercise. I said, before she's going to be on the podcast. Yeah. So we have the ability for Crystal before she teaches, she can come back. So if you comment, share, let people know. We don't want Crystal to be the best kept secret in the Kennesaw area or the Atlanta area. So let your senior center know that there's somebody like that that can challenge and help seniors make that transition. So tell our viewers as we close down, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I am here every Monday and Wednesday. I do a class from 9 to 10 in the gym. I would encourage people, just come and just check it out. You know, the first session is always free. You might come and say, this is not for me. But when we talked about challenging ourselves, wouldn't it be great in 2024 that you took a step out of the water, out of the boat into the water with regards to your health and doing something different? Bring a friend. If you're too shy to do it by yourself, bring somebody with you. Most of the ladies that come to my class, all of the ladies that came to my class, their first day, they had a lot of trepidation. They walked in, kind of, some of them expressed their level of discomfort and uncertainty. Other of them shared it like 2 weeks later, like, wow, I was really uncertain that I was going to be able to do this. But I tell people, even though you're afraid, that's normal and that's natural. Do it afraid. I say to people, when you come, know that it's a safe place. That's really important for people to know. When you come to work out, it's a safe place, that we see you and we will make sure that when you leave there, that you have a sense of feeling like you belong, but also that you actually challenged your body and probably surprised yourself in what you could do.
Right.
And also maybe expose some things that you need to get more support in. A lot of the ladies every day, when they come to my class, I'll ask them, what do you want to work on? What do you feel that you're getting better at? What do you feel that you want to challenge yourself with? And when I see them actually growing in areas and getting down routines and reaching for a 1 pound weight, but then realizing they can do it with 2, it really fuels me, because I understand that you'll take that sense of challenge that you did in the gym and you'll transport that into other areas of your life. Maybe it's relationships, maybe it's finances, maybe it's something to do with your own health, that you're like, if I can do it here, I can do it in other areas as well.
Well, awesome. We'll put in the show notes your information. So those that are driving, we don't want you to be multitasking when you're driving. So yeah, stay focused on the road, especially in Atlanta, because you have some, let's say, undisciplined drivers.
Distracted drivers.
Yes. And we'll put a link to that book, Mindset, in there too. So if our viewers want to be challenged by reading a good book, they will obviously be able to do that. So as you close, what would you like our listeners to take away from this podcast?
I would say 3 things. Number 1, challenge yourself. Number 2, be kind to yourself. And number 3, remember that life is a gift and we have an opportunity to grow, or we have an opportunity to stay stuck. choose to grow.
Wow, Crystal, man, I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for being a guest. We got to get you to the class, because if the class instructor is late for the class,
they get on.
They would say, what's going
They're
on?
tough on me.
All right. Thank you so much, Crystal.